I think the report was spot on. I think the report was very spot on many different things.
We recognize that not everything went right over the course of those 3 days.
Unprepared and untrained for the violence in Indianapolis following George Floyd's death. Right now at 5 o'clock, a scathing report on how IMPD mishandled the downtown riots last May. In a 42-page report, an independent review panel found a lack of training, communication, and strategy in dealing with a massive crowd.
ITMate's Richard Essex has been digging into the document. He begins our team coverage tonight live in downtown. Richard.
The report says the Indianapolis Police Department lacked the coordination, the planning, and the communication for a protest of this magnitude. The lack of communication is the first item addressed in the report. The tensions on the street in Indianapolis the last weekend of May 2020 could be felt in every corner of the city. The report states that police had intelligence that something would occur over the weekend. Based on interviews with IMPD leadership, it seems little, if any, actual planning took place. In addition to the lack of a strategic plan, there were multiple communication issues that caused difficulties in responding in a coordinated fashion. Deputy Chief Josh Barker told ITMate the department was making changes on the fly.
We shifted our strategy to try to understand the objectives of the demonstrators downtown, adjust our efforts to help facilitate that safe environment for those gatherings to occur, and then try to we were constantly trying to measure what the results of those changes were.
The report says the appearance of officers in riot gear sent the wrong message to those peacefully protesting, along with what was perceived as military-type weapons, created the perception of an aggressive police posture from the onset. Basic information from IMPD's command staff was not getting to the officers on the front line of the riots. No clear instructions given to those in the field. A few members of the command staff told the review panel that there were too few supervisors on the street to provide direction to frontline officers who were generally left to make tactical decisions on their own in a chaotic situation.
I agree with the report that there's a large section of members of our community who are upset with the response and the police tactics used that weekend. But as a police executive who's been working to make sure that we don't make those same mistakes again over the past 9 months, there's an equal number of members in our community who are as equally upset with IMPD because they feel like we didn't do anything to help them.
Mayor Hogshead had been criticized for not setting a curfew earlier in the weekend. The report states that the governor's executive order in relation to the public health emergency would have inadvertently have prohibited the mayor from issuing a curfew order. That state executive order had to be amended quickly over the weekend to permit the curfew order at the city level. The report goes on to say the communication problems plagued the entire weekend that led to misunderstandings with multiple city agencies, the public, and those peacefully protesting. The report also says the department's large crowd response unit is really better suited for an event like the Indianapolis 500 or the Indiana State Fair. In downtown Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Richard, thank you. The report lists 7 recommendations for IMPD. They are improved training for all officers and at all levels, internal planning and communication, meaning IMPD should develop a clear strategic plan for demonstrations that differentiates between peaceful protesters and those engaging in criminal activity. Use of de-escalation techniques rather than disorder control tactics. Avoid excessive use of force. No encircling of crowds. Avoid aggressive posture and improve outreach to the community. If you'd like to see the report, we've posted it on our website, wishtv.com.
Mayor Joe Hogshead sent News 8 a statement. It reads, IMPD will continue to adapt and improve its policies and practices to best serve the needs of Indianapolis, leading through transparency and community-led, community-engaged policing. Now, many community members and business owners aren't surprised by that report. They agree with many of the panel findings. News 8's David Williams heard from them today.
The owner of Jack's Donuts was there those 2020 summer nights when protesters and rioters descended on downtown Indianapolis. His store had thousands of dollars in damage.
I was in the middle of it all. and I watched it all unfold on our street.
News 8 shared with him the final report about IMPD's response to those protests. Part of the conclusion states while the vast majority of people in attendance were peaceful, admittedly there were opportunists in the crowd who took advantage of the chaos to commit crimes and cause significant damage to downtown businesses.
Some to peacefully protest, and others were just here to cause chaos, riot, destroy, destruct, steal, whatever gave them the reason to do it, and that was it.
The report also states the IMPD response failed to differentiate between these two very different groups of people. Community activist James Wilson was there and says it wasn't possible for IMPD to tell.
Because what I seen was, you seen some individuals, and a lot of them went black. I seen, if you look on my Facebook page, you see the white girl taking a brick and slamming it straight into the Huntington's window. You see the bricks dropped off downtown. We didn't decide to do that. We didn't decide to do damage, but we're getting blamed because of the Black Lives Matter movement, or the matter of the Black Lives Matter subject, for that matter.
The panel says they hope the recommendations are accepted as intended as a way to help IMPD improve response to future First Amendment protests, as well as help the entire Indianapolis community move forward in a positive way that will contribute to greater understanding and trust on all sides. In downtown Indianapolis, I'm David Williams, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
All right, David, thank you. Minutes before that report came out, IMPD posted a series of videos online, including the one showing here on your screen. Deputy Chief of Oversight, Audit and Performance, Kendall Adams, talked about one way the department is taking steps to be more accountable and transparent.
We really have empowered our commanders to have conversations, to have intimate conversations with community members about information that we may not release publicly, but that they can have in those intimate conversations with folks. You ask any chief, including Chief Taylor, they would like to release everything. The bottom line is they want to put it all out there. But there are limitations.
Along with the videos, IMPD launched a new dashboard through Indy.gov. It displays all shootings involving IMPD officers and information about each one.
Meanwhile, IMPD now facing a new federal lawsuit filed by the family of a woman who died while in police custody. The lawsuit claims IMPD's use of force led to 43-year-old Eleanor Northington's death back in February of 2019. An autopsy report shows Northington died from a lack of oxygen after officers restrained her face down in a church. The lawsuit says the city and IMPD violated Northington's 4th and 14th Amendment rights. 5 officers were placed on administrative leave after the incident. An internal affairs investigation found no administrative violations. A criminal investigation did not identify any concerns.